Hello, and welcome to the Alamogordo, New Mexico Small Business Development Center Starting Your Business Online Module Series. This is Module 6, Customer Service and Hiring. At the end of this mini session, you will be able to gain more information about customer service and hiring and managing others. Whether it's just you or you have employees, you need to have a customer service standard and plan. Great customer service sells products or services. A great customer service experience will result in a repeat customer. Great customer service will result in word-of-mouth referrals. Those word-of-mouth referrals will generate additional business for your business. On the other hand, bad customer service won't make sales. A bad customer service experience will result in a lost customer. And bad customer service will result in bad word of mouth. It is said that a good experience might be shared among one or two friends. However, a bad customer service experience will be shared with many others. Most businesses can't afford to have customers that have bad customer experiences. Customer service can differentiate your small business from large businesses. Your personal service and attention to detail can play an important part on your customer service plan. It's very important to have a customer service plan and make sure it's consistently practiced. The next slide says let's brainstorm. Good customer service means, and then identify 3 things that good customer service means to you. Make sure that you incorporate those good customer service skills into your business. How can you ensure consistent customer service? Businesses have a variety of ways to measure and gauge their customers' experience, including surveys either done in paper while the customer is at the store or through email. You could also do table-side chats. If you have a restaurant, send a manager over and just ask how the customer's experience has been so far. Another indicator of customer satisfaction is the customer conversion ratio. How many customers walk in the door and how many customers actually make a purchase. Another indicator is repeat customers or customer retention. From the number of customers that purchase something, how many come back in? How many return to your store within a certain amount of time? Another measure for customer service is the number of issues or the complaint rate. Are there a number of issues that are reported to you? Is there something that multiple customers have the same issue with? Is it a person that has the same complaints? Here's an article at smallbiztrends.com on how to measure customer service for more information. Add customer service plan to your operating plan. We discussed having an operating plan in one of the previous modules. Now you can draft a customer service plan and include it in your business plan. Not only should you create and draft one, but also follow it and train your employees adequately so they have an understanding of what customer service means to you and how you plan to treat each customer. Here's another article from smallbusinesscron.com on creating customer service plans. Do you need employees or other workers? After a small business has been open for an amount of time, you might have a better indication of whether you need to bring additional employees on. Review the number of hours you plan to be open. Can you reasonably cover those hours? What about time off, sick time, or other needs? Or perhaps there's tasks that another could perform that would free up your time to produce or increase revenue. Perhaps there's an area that you aren't as strong in and you need to hire that out. All of these are reasons why you might need to have employees or other workers involved in your business. Common myths. There are basically two different classifications. Either an employee is an employee with an employee status, or an independent contractor, somebody that you pay on a contract basis, and they are not an employee. Some common myths are saying a worker is an independent contractor makes it so. That is not true. By calling someone an independent contractor, that is not enough to determine their classification. People who work for more than one company are independent contractors. Again, that's untrue. You might be able to work more than one company in an employee status. Part-time or short-term workers are independent contractors, and again, this is not true. You might only need somebody temporarily or part-time, and you should not hire them as independent contractors, but look at some more information. Here is a chart. On the left side are the independent contractor traits. On the right side are the employee traits. An independent contractor usually has no training provided. They're expected to know their job. They also offer their services to the public. They perhaps do some work for you, but also for some other businesses in the same line of work. Work is not supervised, and usually the independent contractor sets their own hours. It may be on a project basis, and usually they can choose where they work. Perhaps they work on your site, or perhaps they work at their own site. Benefits are not provided to independent contractors, and independent contractors usually pay their own expenses. The independent contractor is also responsible for realizing profit or loss, and they also are provided a 1099 at the end of the year for any of the payments that you provided them. On the flip side, an employee, usually the business will provide training. In an employee situation, they usually provide services only to their employer. In an employee situation, work is usually supervised, and work hours are usually controlled. The work is usually done by employees, and also there is a continued relationship. That employee is expected to come in week after week until they're either told they're no longer needed or their situation has changed. Employees may be eligible for benefits if your company provides benefits, and usually typically expenses are covered by the employer, not by the employee. Basically, the employee comes in, they clock into work, they do the work that you have told them to complete, and then they leave. And that situation is usually repeated on a daily, weekly, or other basis. And also, employees are usually receive a W-2 at the end of the year. This will outline how much income they received from your business. It'll also say how much Medicare and other types of withholdings were taken from their check. Potential independent contractor services. You might have an independent contractor relationship with an accountant, a doctor, a dentist, a realtor, a freelance writer, or others. All of these different types of people perhaps can operate on an independent contractor basis. Bottom line, if you're an independent contractor, then you're a business owner and must comply with all the rules that a normal business owner would have to, including New Mexico gross receipts tax and others. Why should you care? Whether it's you hiring somebody or whether they are hiring you, you need to understand independent contractor versus an employee relationship. Misclassifying workers can result in fines and penalties from the IRS and other employment taxing authorities. Preparing to hire and pay. Once you decide that someone is going to be hired on an employee basis, then you need to register with federal and state taxing agencies or authorities. You will need to collect a W-4 and an I-9. Both of those forms are located on the irs.gov website. You will need to determine a pay cycle, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, or bi-monthly. You'll need to determine a payroll system, whether you plan to use something that's online or electronic. You'll need to decide on a record-keeping system. You'll need to develop an employee handbook. You need to determine your employee feedback process in order to do employee evaluations. And you may want to look into hiring incentives, since sometimes the state provides hiring incentives to special classes. That might be a good way to offset some of the wages that you're going to be paying. You usually can get more information about hiring incentives from your local economic development group. Register with the Department of Workforce Solutions. The New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions used to be called the Department of Labor. The Department of Workforce Solutions, or DWS, monitors and collects the unemployment tax. Employers must pay unemployment tax. The tax supports the unemployment insurance program, which provides benefits to eligible workers through no fault of their own and meet the requirements. All employers must submit a form to report to determine liability. This is done after you pay $400 in wages to an employee. The Department of Workforce Solutions will determine if you must pay and how much you will pay, and it's based on the number of employees and the dollar value of your payroll. The Department of Workforce Solutions also administer programs and monitor laws pertaining to labor relations, wage and hour law, child labor law, human rights, and also workforce training. You can go to their website or visit them at 901 Alaska Avenue in Alamogordo, or give them a call at 437-9210. There's another agency called the New Mexico Workers' Compensation Administration that administers the workers' compensation program and collects workers' compensation fees. In addition to the workers' compensation fee, there's workers' compensation insurance. An insurance policy is purchased by the employer in order to replace wages and pay medical benefits to an employee if they are injured in the course of employment. Workers' compensation is purchased through private companies. Businesses with 3 or more employees must carry workers' compensation insurance. Businesses with less than 3 employees are not required to carry the insurance unless they're in the construction trade. If your business is in the construction trade, you're required to carry workers' compensation even with 1 employee. So here's our check question. Are you in compliance with federal, state, local, and other regulations for hiring individuals? And also, have you developed your customer service plan and included that in your operating plan? You've reached the end of the module. The passcode for this module is the word CAN. Thank you and proceed to the next module.